Morning, good afternoon, whenever you're listening to this. Thank you so much for attending this, and I welcome you to another opportunity, and there are many opportunities in the world here, to learn about your business. That's so important because most people in GCM or in Alka have a nursing or social work or healthcare background, and we don't have business background. So this and any other opportunity that you have to learn more about business is a great thing because you are running a business. um, so I'm hoping that I can open the door to more business information here, and we have a closed door here. So hopefully, I will see in your mind that door opening and processing more information about how to run a really great GCM or ALCA business. We have here a unhappy woman. She is looking very strained. Her hands or fingers are over her forehead. That usually means, oh my God, what am I going to do? And this may be you or someone you know at some time, but even the most experienced GCMs experience this all the time because starting a business is really hard, and you will make mistakes. You will go backwards and have to go forwards again, in any business, whether you're making widgets, whether you're making software. Elon Musk even does this, and you can see that in the news lately. We all do it in creating a business and struggling, and this woman is really struggling because she's just started a GCM business. And this is a composite of a lot of people that I work with over the years. And I'm calling her Mary Meanswell, and she has Mom Loves You Best GCM in, let's say, New Jersey, where I used to come from. And she called me as her business was failing. That's why, her head is in her hands, and she had no business plan. And many people start this way. She had a very rudimentary one, but not a business plan. And a business plan is there to teach you how to essentially create a timeline for yourself. And the plan will give you, what is the product you're selling, or multiple products, who's going to buy that product, so your target audiences, how do you get to those target audiences? And that may be third parties, and you've got to name all of those, and adult children. And then specifically, how do you reach them? Through what media? Through what one-to-one meetings, etc. And then basically, day by day, you're going to stretch out, your plan for, what are you going to buy? How much is that going to cost? Because it's really, I mean, if you have an office, even a home office, you have to buy printers, you have to buy iPhones, etc. And that's a cost to the business. And so a part of a business plan is really a financial forecast. And very few people really know how to do this, and it's easy. And to tell you the truth, it's in the Handbook of Geriatric Care Management. It's been in there since, I think, version 3. And Jack Herndon who's a CPA, excuse me, he has an MBA from Stanford. He's Nina Herndon's husband. She's, a very well-known person in ALCA, and he wrote a number of chapters with me, and he did this financial forecast. And this is a magic thing. So you can just go to chapter 13 and find it. And it tells you when you're going to break even. And how you figure that out is the number of clients you have times what you're charging them per hour. That's your income. And then all the things you had needed to buy that I just talked about, rent, equipment, salaries, if, usually startups don't have them even for yourself. Technological, like you need an iPhone, you need a computer program, you need a marketing program, you need a client program, all those things. That's overhead. So you have to figure out, when you have enough clients and hours from each of those clients times the hourly that you're charging, when your income is more than what your outgoing expenses. And that tells you when you're going to break even. It's pretty a simple thing. The example's there and how to do it. She had never done that. And she needed to know, and what you all need to know in the very beginning, we all do, I did, when can you take a salary? And it tells you much more. It tells you then how many clients you have to hire somebody new, how many clients you have to, maybe, expand. It's a great, so she hadn't done that. And she had, not done the business plan, as I said. So she had not targeted the customers who could pay her, because this is a business that really can only target the top 10%. And that is because, very simply, geriatric care management is not that expensive per hour, but you want to keep clients over a long period of time, because it's expensive to keep opening and closing and then chasing new clients. And over time, say 7 years, it becomes expensive. But sometime in that 7-year period, because these are aging individuals, home care is going to be necessary, and that is really expensive. So put together, you only the top 10% can really afford you. And she didn't understand that and was, basically advertising to anybody. If you want to know more about that, and I'm not advertising this book, it's been out for 14 years. Just use it. I hope you have it. And Bob O'Toole wrote a great chapter that's been in there, I think, through all 4 editions. But look at the 4th, because he updates it. And it's a great chapter on, revenue sources. And so she also, and this is, the stake in the heart for all of us. We are social workers, nurses, healthcare people, and we didn't go to school to run a business. We went to get to school to serve people and give our services away. Of course, we were paid. We got a paycheck, every month or every 2 weeks. We never thought about, all those expenses and breaking even and how much the heat cost or the air conditioning or the new equipment. You just got your check. So as a result of, being a social worker and a nurse, you feel very, very guilty when you're running what you are running, a business. You feel guilty about charging people if they say they can't afford it. You don't put down the billing, in your billing sheet, or you lower the cost. And so the truth is, you have to bill 85% to make it. And most of us don't even know it. She had no idea. And so how do you find that out? You have a billing program, and the billing program can print out reports about what percentage of hours that you're paying your social workers or yourself are billable. And so she totally believed that most people couldn't afford her because she's a social worker, and she only billed once a month. A big problem, because cash flow is king. It really is. You've got to learn that. Sort of like Bill Clinton said that, when he came into office, the bond market was king. He didn't know that, and he's a smart cookie. So at any rate, what I did was I coached Mary to rewrite her business plan with a value proposition that she wanted to make money and understood she had to make money, and that she would target the top 10%. I convinced her to do a competition survey, which many people don't do at the beginning. Again, it's in the Handbook of Geriatric Care Management, both in Chapter 18 and in the marketing chapter by Marilee Orsini, who knows what she's talking about. She read a really successful business, that business to Senior Bridge. They essentially they modeled her entire business, and Senior Bridge is now Humana. So she's a very successful woman. And she left Senior Bridge after a year and started a really high-powered marketing firm. And she writes the chapter on marketing each time. So she's got a competition survey in there. And then she created this financial forecast that I'm talking about in Excel. And again, look in chapter 18 to find out when she would have enough money to take a salary versus, by looking at the number of clients she had to get. So what does it prompt you to do? Get more clients because you understand that's your money source. And I helped her to create a mindset. And really, it's all in our attitude in our mind. And, she had a mindset to be good, but you can be good and make sense. That's a Marilee Orsini quote. So the mindset needs to be you can make money and still do good. And the other thing is that many of us denigrate ourselves as social workers and healthcare workers, that, lawyers are worth more to us than us, and doctors are worth more than us. That's not true. You do an incredibly difficult job. It is a job where you take a lot of negative energy in your body, you turn it out in a care plan. That really is tough. You guide the most difficult families that lawyers and doctors don't want to deal with. They give them to you because these dysfunctional families drive them nuts. They still do their little part, but they're not going to work with who hates who in the family to get care for the older person. And also, she had a reason to make money. She had kids who needed braces, and she wanted to buy a new hybrid. I do too. That's why I put this in. I'm about to, just to, save the environment and save my expense in gas. And she learned finally to bill 85% of her time weekly and to watch her cash flow. So in business, there are 3 P's. And, business can be reduced to this. The first is people, and that's you. You have great GCM clinical skills that are worth millions, really. Plumbers, you love, when your plumbing goes out, a plumber is worth a lot. He knows a lot of technical information. You are someone who, and they charge more than you do. I mean, try a plumber, or you have tried plumbers. So, you have great clinical skills that are worth a lot of money. And of course, it's what the traffic will bear. If you're a GCM in New York, ALCA in New York, you're going to be able to charge more because that's what the traffic will bear. The Midwest, you need to charge less. But you need to keep on increasing your hourly. And you have to feel that you are worth all of this. And she basically, she already had a full GCM toolbox because she had clinical skills, but she was missing this attitude toward profit. And that's what I want to teach you. That's what's going to open the door here. So why can I help you? I'm going to go through this fast. As you well know, hopefully, I wrote the Handbook of Geriatric Care and Management with many other, like Marilee Orsini, incredible experts doing chapters. I wrote the book Mom Loves You Best with Callie Peterson, another aging expert. And, this is one of the biggest problems in geriatric care management, warring siblings, usually having to do with something that happened when they were very young. And in essence, there wasn't enough love to go around. And so it all comes out at the end when you have them fighting over money. I'm an expert teacher in geriatric care management, and I've taught at San Francisco State in their master's program, Berkeley in their master's program in social worker teaching geriatric care management, and the University of Florida in their master's program in geriatric care management. And I'm an expert in the aging family, and this is one of the greatest tools that you can have, because aging is not about an older person. It's about the family. The family is a family system. And many times times you have to work with the family, not getting daycare for them or anything like that, but you have to get them to buy in to getting care for the older person and get them as best you can to support what you're doing with the older person. And so you now have to know family dynamics and really family systems, and that's systems theory. You know, the UC Santa Cruz is a system. Elon Musk's business is a system, and systems operate in many of the same ways. So this is a great book about it, and again, it's me writing it and a lot of other experts. Rita Gottak, who started the geriatric care management program at Stanford, the first in the nation. Steve Barlam and Bunny Dibness, who are like, you know, aces in the hole in this industry, and they did a great chapter on tools. And then I'm an expert in GCM startups. I wrote the first operations manual in geriatric care management with a forms manual attached to it that's been out since 2012, and many people have bought it. And I'm an expert consultant with scores of GCM business startups, and I really like to work with startups. So what are you going to do here? This is going to cover one session. It's going to be approximately an hour. We're going to note your question. We want you to note your questions and send them in. You can be able to write them in at the end. Have a notebook handy and ask for help. Okay. These 5 critical steps that I'm talking about have a daunting stairway, and the daunting stairway is there for anybody that starts a business. 50% of businesses fail in the first year. So, you know, it is a rough climb, a dubious, tenacious climb, and we're going to, you know, help you here. So what we're going to cover is survey the competition and customers. I talked about that. Have financial literacy. Give a concierge service, gold star, 4 seasons, going down the Danube on Viking cruises. I'm going to teach you more about billing 85% of your time. And the last is don't sell services, even though you're delivering a service. Create products of services. So the first thing I want you to do is test your business mission. And your business mission, well, first of all, have you written one? You have to be 100% clear in your business mission. You may not understand this, to make money. So does your business mission, if you've even written it, does it mention money? This is really important. Does your business mission state that and this is subliminal in the way that you write it, this is advertising, it's marketing. Marketing doesn't always, you do it in a subliminal way. And your mission needs to say that you're 100% clear that you're serving high-end entitled clients. Those concierge clients that I explained you have to be able to, keep your business going and get paid. Does your business plan state, and I talked about a business plan, that you are charging these high-end clients a high-end fee? And do you know that there's a limited market for GCM success? And it is only GCM or ALCA people who are focusing on this top 10% market. So your mission needs to be 100% clear that you're serving high-end entitled clients, and you do it in a subliminal way that marketing does. Just think of the Danube, the Viking cruises. If you watch Downton Abbey, they were the main sponsor. And, all those people that were on that lovely boat, they were dressed to the T's. They had the most exquisite meals. They had a 4-star, 5-star service on that barge going down the Danube. And in a subliminal way, Viking Cruises is telling you, these are the type of exclusive people that that buy these Viking cruises. And it's true, it's very expensive. And the top 10% can afford it. So this is what you have to do. You have to give clues. So this is a mission statement with a clue. It doesn't say I need to make money and I only want you as a client. It says premium care management. Premium is the key word here. Services and choices. Choices is important, delivered by extraordinary, another key word, healthcare professionals. So, this is a really good mission statement. You've got to have these words in here. Gold star, I like premium much better, but play around with the mission statement, and then everybody needs to memorize that, especially you, because you have to know that you need to build these kind of people. Number 2 is test your financial literacy. Um, Financial literacy and making money. There's several points that you need to really pay attention to. The first is to always collect a deposit. Why? Because the first month of geriatric care management or ALCA care management is the most expensive because they're bringing you this garbage bag of problems that you've got to solve, and they're difficult. So you've got to put together a care plan that solves all of the problems and solve a lot of them in the first month. That makes it very expensive in the first month, and the second month is going to be less expensive because you have it more under control, and the third month less. So in the first month, if indeed you put in all these hours to get all these problems solved, and at the end they don't want you anymore, they can fire you and not pay you. Just think Donald Trump. I came from Atlantic City, and he's famous for not paying any of the contractors for those gambling casinos that he made go bankrupt. The rich have a really, not everybody's like Donald Trump, but the rich have a way of not paying their bills. And so you're stuck. And that's why you need the deposit. The deposit needs to be an average of what the first month would be. And, it's a ballpark. You need a signed service agreement before you deliver any services. And so I teach over and over again, I've done many webinars about this, that you get the service agreement signed, usually over Adobe because it does it right away, and the deposit usually through PayPal, but you can use Square, before you go out at the end of the inquiry. And you're like a car salesman here. The car salesman always moves to the sale. Are you ready to move forward? And that may be like, heinous to you because you're a social worker, but you have a business. You have to do these things because you don't want to go out, spend 3 hours, do your geriatric assessment, do all the work. And then at the end, they'll say, and you say to them, now here's the contract, let's sign it. We're not ready to move forward, and that can help too. So you've got to do it in a telephone call, and I, have a webinar that I'll probably do again about the two-part telephone call. You want to promptly invoice, and that has to do with cash flow, king cash flow. And so you need to make salary. If you don't invoice, the money doesn't come in, and your receivables come in very slowly. And I'm going to show more about that later. But you basically have to have someone in charge of an accountant, hopefully, or a bookkeeper that can keep the money flowing. So because every 2 weeks you still have to make payroll, and the money's coming in slowly, and that's a dilemma. So you have to really be on top of payroll, and therefore you can't bill every month. You're not going to make it. And then you have to measure billable hours while, this is the 85%, while providing supervisory support to the care managers you're working with, or to yourself. Uh, because, we falter by, oh, he can't afford it or she can't afford it. And the way you can track this, again, is to get, a billing program. Billing programs have reports they'll they'll print out, and most billing programs will have a report of the billable hours and what was billed and what wasn't billed, and you're, looking at the whole thing because you've paid a salary for all the hours your employees, worked. So if they're only billing 50%, you're in sad shape. And if you're only billing 50% because you're a one-stop shop, you are too. And then you've got to bill travel rate at a full time, if at full rate. I just get so frustrated with so many people that tell me they don't bill travel rate. Travel rate is a lot of your time. You can go out 50 miles. I don't think very much more in the county or the area that you're taking clients in, but travel's a big, big part. And don't say, well, they can't afford it, or, that's not fair. It's fair to you to get your Prius and to get your kids braces and to keep your company a healthy company, because a healthy company is a profitable company. So bill full travel rate. And then financial literacy or other things, you've got to know almost all the fees are going to come from the older adults' assets and trusts. So in that competition survey, you really need to be able to look at, in your area that you serve, where the people in the top 10% are. And you can do it through the through the census, and you can also do it with zip codes. And I cover that in another area. So you got to market to populations over 70 with assets of more than 500K, and really it's up to 1 million. But the good news is there are over 1,700 markets in the U.S. that have this, and actually that's an old figure, more. Since the Trump administration came in and the um, the tax bill that just passed that really, funds the wealthy, companies have more and more to pay, and there's this, terrible gap in the United States where so many people are wealthy and so few people are poor. So there's a lot of wealthy people who can afford you, and so you have to target them. And then you want to do a market sizing, and that again is in the Handbook of Geriatric Care Management in chapter 18. And this tells you how to find those people. And it may, there's enclaves, there's gated communities everywhere, and that's where the wealthy live, or, there's always a wealthy area in your county. You need to find it. And again, you can do it through zip codes. I've done that for many times with people that I've worked with, big companies, and through the census. Okay, these are the concierge clients you're going to serve. These are an exaggeration, but I thought this was funny. And, these concierge clients have to be served for a long period of time to make a lot of profit. Because, again, it's very expensive to close cases, open cases, and then find new cases. There's a lot of money that you have to expend in doing all this. So keeping a case for a long period of time is what you want to make your goal. Now, I will just go through this very quickly. Who are the concierge clients? They're the old money. I worked in Pebble Beach for 25 years. I had a lot of old money, Pebble Beach, California, and they are quite characters. New money, that's like Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, anyone who, was of a medium or low income and then, made their fortune. And new money is looked down by old money. So these are called the nouveau riche. And then the third class is really doctors, lawyers, professionals who have made a lot of money and saved it well and invested well, and they are in the top 10% as well. And then there are this very interesting class of people that have defined pensions, that they've worked all their life. It was in a time in, post World War II up to probably the 80s, where, teachers, subway workers, anybody that had a union auto workers. Watch Michael Moore's film. His dad was an auto worker. They could send people to college. They finally had arrived in the middle class. So they had a retirement, and those retirements are up, actually put them in the top 10%. There's a great article about it in the New York Times. I've posted in my blogs. You should sign up for my blogs, but if you're interested, I can send that to you. So these are the concierge clients. They tend to be incredibly entitled, except for the subway workers and the teachers, because they lived a very, simple life, because they didn't have a lot of money. The nouveau riche are more like these people. Old money doesn't do this. They're subtle. These is who you have to serve for a long period of time. And serving concierge clients for a long period of time to make a profit takes these skills. First of all, you have to do what you do already. Provide a GPS through the healthcare needs that they have, so that you can deliver the best care, and you deliver that by using your continuum of care and bringing in the right care for them. But this is the key, you need to do this seamlessly. Do you think Viking Cruises doesn't seamlessly deliver meals? Do you think the Five Seasons or Four Seasons Hotel doesn't deliver seamless, a hotel experience? You have to really model yourself off all of that, and, deliver seamless care. And really, doesn't everybody deserve that? Especially people that are having a healthcare crisis, and an aging crisis, is prompted by the healthcare crisis. You have to learn how to deliver concierge care. You have to have what you already have, a full GCM toolbox, and know all those community resources, because entitled clients they may need private drivers, or they may demand them. Um, they may need, and I talk from experience here, they want people that, care providers who look, first of all, wear whites, and second of all, um, I've been asked many times in Pebble Beach, the person needs to look like a model. Well, models really work. They're not models, but they're attractive women or men, but they have to, in the very beginning, if they're dealing non-medical care, you can get a good-looking person who has all the CNA skills. But a model, you don't look for a model when somebody needs a Hoyer lift. So you need to have boundaries yourself. But you need to look for the, private chefs or something, in your database, in your co- in your community resources database. You have to have all the service, somebody to deliver the laundry, somebody to deliver the house cleaning, someone to arrange parties. All of those things are, one of the things that they want. And then you've got to, I talked about care providers. You want to, only have, in all cases, no matter for who, skilled background checked home care aides. But these people really demand it, because they only want the best. And also, these people need to usually wear whites, and because they want to look like servants. Just think Downton Abbey, it hasn't gotten a lot better. And they can put up, the care providers can put up with the needs and the demands of entitled clients, because entitled clients are very difficult to deal with. Usually money doesn't make people happy, and it brings people to be highly outrageous in their demands. And so you want to get people that can put up with this, and deal with it well, and there are a lot of people out there. And the last thing is that you want to serve the whole family, meaning that this is Bunny Dibness, who I consider a wonderful, fun, genius type geriatric care manager. She's been at Live Home for probably, I don't know, 35 years, and she's now a key mediation specialist in the LA community. But she, in her chapter in the Care Managers in the Aging Family and Tools really talks about how you have to serve the whole family. And it's not about, again, that older client, it's about the whole family, because you have to coalesce them to care, to arrange care for their parent. We're not going to do this poll today, but I would like some feedback, if you could, in the future, for me to do further webinars. Are you looking for business coaching, an operations manual, or an online class to learn business and sell products, which is something that I've moved into? Okay, so you need somebody who can simultaneously juggle multiple problems and keep high-end, long-term profitable customers. And this is a multitasker. You really need to be a multitasker to be a really good care manager. First of all, those people need to carry small caseloads, because multitasking doesn't mean that they can handle 40 cases. They can't. You're delivering an extraordinary concierge version of geriatric care management, and you can't do it with a huge caseload. When I started out social work, honestly, in truth, in Philadelphia, I had a caseload of 500. I could see everybody once a month. Well, can't do that. And especially, a mixture of caseloads, because when you get to 24-hour care with families and older people, there's a lot you have to do. And basically, you have to do it on a concierge way, in a concierge way. So you need to assign small caseloads. That means hiring other care managers who have specific skills. The people that you hire have to have a high level of experience and education. These are the clinical skills, and a psychodynamic understanding of families and older people, because most of the families you're going to deal with are dysfunctional. Um, Dysfunctional families have extraordinary problems, and there's a whole chapter in the Handbook of Geriatric Care Management on the dysfunctional family, and you should read it. And because they're entitled, and they are like those people in Downton Abbey. The table has to be set just exactly so. In Downton Abbey, they were measuring how far the forks were from the spoons. I don't think that happens anymore, but they want, you know, they want incredibly, sort of difficult, things done for them. And, you have to know how to handle them, and you have to have these dysfunctional, entitled family skills. So you want to hire somebody like that. And then you want yourself, as the owner, to provide a high level of coaching to all of your care managers to sustain working with these entitled families and their persistent and insatiable demands. I get that straight from Nick Newcomb, who is hysterical. And he started Senior Bridge with Claudia fine. And he's going off to do something else, but he was really funny. And they did a chapter in Care Managers Working with the Aging Family about these families, and it's one of his lines. But this can be daunting for your care managers, and you need to do individual coaching to really help them. BJ Spittler is now deceased, but one of the finest geriatric care managers I ever knew, and she had a giant practice in San Diego. She brought in a masseuse each week for her care managers. I'm not saying you need to do that, but this is the kind of tender, loving care managers need. So this is who you have to hire. And then you have to hire somebody who can juggle, because lots of times you're driving the car to a very serious case. Something's blown up. You get another call. Hopefully not. You're not. You have a brand new car. That's why you need the Prius. And the phone is not handheld, so you can still drive. And you've got to go after that to a new crisis. And when you're visiting your client, you have to fill out a lot of forms on a computer, but you also have to do your billing at the same time. You have to multitask. So you have to be able to multitask and juggle a lot of different crises all at once. This is like ER medicine. It isn't, a lot of it's triage, and you've got to figure out, what's the most important crisis to deal with, who's bleeding to death, and then go down the line from there. Okay, so again, hire a multitasker who can do this email, cell phone, make client contact, and bill all at the same time. You've got to measure hours of the GCM and coach them. And the best way to do this is to figure out what's billable and not billable in the first place. Do that. What are the 15% non-billable in your agency? What are the 85 billable, and teach that in the beginning, to everybody that works for you. And then every time you get a printout at the end of the month or every 2 weeks, look at it and coach them. Don't yell at anybody, but really, this is a teaching process, because again, we're all social workers and nurses. We need help. Okay, bill for 85% of your time. um, your hourly fees need to be at an 85% utilization rate, and I've explained that over and over again. Therefore, you have to invoice every other week, and I would say every week, because the hours billed that come in are going to pay your salaries, and you need to bill everything. Travel needs to be billed. No flat rates. This again drives me crazy. People say, oh, they do a flat rate for a geriatric care management report. This is a written report. So, you agree, you sign this, it's a flat rate. In some cases, maybe they'll take 10 hours to do or 5 hours to do. Remember, you got to write it out too. But you get this huge dysfunctional case, a lot of siblings fighting, everybody's disagreeing, lawyers involved, conservatorship involved, and that takes 20 hours, but you've only billed for 10 because that's a flat fee. You're losing money. And this is a business. You have to measure billable hours, so no flat rates. So this is the reason, and it's an easy way to look at this. So you've got to make payroll every 2 weeks, and during that you've got to buy gas to travel. Your care managers do, so you have to know cash flow. So 20% of all the bills you send out, at the beginning of the 2-week period, in the first 30 days, only 20% of that comes in, but you've had to make two payrolls. That's hard to do. So within 31 to 60 days, the next month, about 60% of it comes in. But by that time, you've had to make 4 payrolls. 12% dribbles in the third month, but you've had to make 6 payrolls, and 5% in 91 to 120 days, and some you don't even get paid for. So you really need someone, a bookkeeper, who really understands this and can keep on top of it, reminding people nicely about billing, sending out billing notices, but getting that money in. So that's the 85%. And again, know your hourly worth. I talked about this. You are a highly, highly skilled person, and even plumbers charge more than you per hour, and boy, don't you need them. And you have to feel, as a social service or a healthcare professional, that you have a skill that is as billable as physicians and attorneys. And, at the end of my 25 years, I was billing a lot because I was working, with really difficult cases with attorneys all the time. And, I submitted to the court that, I held the case together. This takes a lot of experience to do that. And you have to get over your ethical dilemma about billing, because we all have it. I have it still, because I grew up wanting to serve the not just the poor, but the unfairly dealt with in our society, and that's why I became a social worker. So I had this guilt in the beginning. I used to make marketing calls, cold call marketing calls, and I'd be so nervous about talking to people. When they finally answered the phone, I would hang up in the beginning. I'm always truthful about this, so I didn't, was nervous. Eventually, I talked to everybody. I didn't care if they hung up on me. But so you don't set your hourly fee too low. You want to do a competition survey. Again, the competition survey will tell you what's the average going rate in your community. Start with that and then start raising it. And the difficulty too is that we've always been paid a salary. I work for the state of New Jersey, state of California. I got, a check every 2 weeks. I didn't care, how much they were paying for heat or whether, they needed a lot of air conditioning or they needed new furniture or new technological anything. I didn't know, the expenses of running a business. Now you have them. And you've got to know that you are basically only getting paid your salary if you can keep your cost under control, and that's really important, and you have to have somebody to do it. You can't suffer this background guilt, this ethical dilemma. You really need to work on it, and I've done many webinars about that. And then you change your hourly GCM fee that when you look at your fee and you think that that's high, basically it's all the cost of doing business. You're running a business. It's different than when you work for, me, the Division of Youth and Family Services. They're a business too. They took care of that. I never had to worry about it. You've got to worry about it now. So you have to be on top of your costs, on top of, the expenses that you're, having to incur. So that's really important. And the last thing is don't sell services, sell products. And I've been saying this for years in every webinar I've done. Your mission has to be clear about this. You have to, only bill high-end customers that will choose you over the competition, because what they do is they choose you over the competition because you have products that rival what other agencies that you're competing with don't have. And to the upper 10%, products make sense. To a high-end customer, products, they wear Gucci, or they, buy, Coach purses, and they go on Viking cruises because their friends will know that reflects their money. This is for usually the nouveau riche, but these people are they're used to products, and aren't we all? I subscribe to Consumer Reports because I want to know what the best product is, and but I buy products, and I buy products, maybe that are healthier for my family or for me, but I choose products, and everyone does. So what you have to do is convert your services into products, because somebody who comes to you and the problem they have is their mother needs to move, you need a moving product. Step by step how you're going to do it. If someone comes to you and says their mother's moving out of the fifth assisted living, she's driving them crazy, can you help do it? You need a product called Concierge Companion, where somewhat you and go in, find out what the difficulties she's having. You do an assessment, and then placing a Concierge Companion with them, with the older person, to help them adjust to the facility and find quality of life activities outside or inside the facility that can make them stay. If someone comes to you and their mother is dying, End of Life is a great product for geriatric care managers. You can get people into hospice long before hospice, ever gets clients. They only get them in the last month of their life. That's the average. And, hospice, offers, and death is 5 stages. So you can come in an earlier stage, and if you find it, clinically important, move them into hospice then, because hospice can go in and out, on and on and on. So, don't like so many people do on their website, say we're offering peace of mind. What's that mean? Or we are offering an assessment. Nobody they don't want, they want their mother to move. They don't want an assessment. What's that anyway? So you have to change into products. And in each case, I make an offer every webinar, and today I am to end this. And I'm going to make an offer for attending today. I created the My Geriatric Care Management Operation Manual in 2012, and I have been working one-to-one with a lot of geriatric care managers over the years. A lot of them are in this class right now. And it usually took us about a year to go through it because there's 20 modules and things happened. Holidays came up, people got sick, they had to travel, or they got really busy. By the middle of it, they were able to really generate a lot of income, and so they couldn't, every 3 weeks they could talk to me. So I decided to take the entire operations manual and this forms manual and the modules I was teaching it through and put them in a Blackboard course. I've been doing that for about a year. So it's finished now, and it's a self-paced course on products and procedures to market geriatric care management and deliver it with, and I'll go through what is in here. The class includes 20 PowerPoint modules with audio, me speaking to you like I would in, one-to-one, that cover the step-by-step procedures in 14 products and services for ALCA and GCM. It's 20 because there are 3 modules in Home from the Hospital and 5 modules in End of Life. You will also get a marketing PowerPoint module with marketing exercises and directions to sell with these 14 products. And then you'll have homework, and there will be a marketing exercise in homework in each product at the end, so that you can not only figure out how to deliver it, but you will learn how to market it. In each product, you will be able to do that. There'll be 20 lecture videos that'll be live, me, just like I am on YouTube. And you should sign up for my YouTube channel. And there'll be a lecture module attached to each module that has the PowerPoint and the marketing. Homework, as I explained, you'll be sending that to me each week, and my grading will not be grading. It is going to be going in, and that's what I always did with my care managers, and giving you better suggestions on how to do this. There will be a Facebook group. It's already in place. It's a closed Facebook group for everybody that's ever bought the manual, and they interact on this, but you will be able to interact with me on the Facebook group, asking me questions about the class and about problems that you're having, and I will answer in each case. And I'll be talking to you about your homework. There's going to be a full bibliography. You will get with it my Geriatric Care Management Operations Manual and the Forms Manual, and I will license that to you with the 14 products. And the CEUs are in progress right now with ASBW, Association of Social Welfare Boards, and I will be getting certification through ANA as well, and probably a number of others. So the price for it is $9.95 for the class, the manuals, everything that I just mentioned. You can pay me through PayPal, and that's what I've always used. There is a contract that has to come signed. It's down here, a signed contract because I'm licensing you intellectual property. And then if you need to pay in a different way because you have more limited resources, you can pay me $300 a month in payments for 4 months instead of the $995. You can pay me $500 a month for 2 months. And if you already have the manual and you didn't take, you didn't want to, do the consultations over the 20, the 20 PowerPoints, and you want to do that again, you want to do that now. If you have the manual already, I will reduce the price to $450 just to take the class because you already have the manual and you won't have to, buy that. And there'll be a signed contract that you'll have to sign. This is only going to be available for 7 days. So today is the 24th, and so it will be available until next Friday, so a week from today, and then it ends. And it'll be back to $995, and when the CUs come in, it'll be $1,400. But you will still get the CUs in retrospect if you sign up now. So thank you so much, and I will